Hello, good morning, and welcome to another one of my interviews and podcasts. Today, I'm super excited to have a dear friend and colleague of mine, Karen Clarke. Now, Karen Clarke is known as a quantum queen. She has a business called Clarkashians & Co., and she's passionate and dedicated to helping women in male-dominated industries to make a difference by becoming raving successes. She knows a thing or two that holds us back from having the success we crave, things such as fear, doubt, and not being as good as our competitors or being the imposter syndrome. Having been an entrepreneur herself for over 30 years, sometimes it's even as simple as the unwillingness to become uncomfortable. Karen introduces topics in a way that aren't taught at universities, such as physics, law, and collaborations. So, welcome, Karen. We're so excited to
Hi,
have you. I've been wanting to have you on for quite a while now.
I know. Hi, Ali. So lovely to be here with you and see you again after
Yes.
how long?
Yes, it's been a while. So, you coach your clients on how to collaborate with the best collaboration partners in the world, the universe. Now, that is a very big thing. And I think a lot of people who haven't tapped into that sort of power. So, tell us a little bit about what you do and how people can, learn a thing or two from today's interview.
Yeah. So as you said, I teach things that aren't taught. I am a business growth and performance coach, so that's where I work because I that's my background. I've been an entrepreneur, grown several businesses in varied industries over 30 years, and now, after having been in traditional businesses and being focused on the way that we get taught to be, think, and do in traditional businesses, I started to understand that there was more to it than that many, many years ago. And I was always someone who educated myself, more as much as I could, and I still do. So I went to many courses and seminars and programs and boot camps over many, many years before I became a coach. And I got really interested in, and they were business and investment type of, training. And I got really interested in the portion that was always there on the mindset and transformation work. And so I became fascinated with this. However, I found that people would say things and I didn't really understand how to make them, how to how to take them to that next level, how to put in place what they'd say. Things like the famous comments that you hear, like from Henry Ford, who said, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you are right.
That's right.
And so, you get what you focus on, and all
Mm.
those kind of sayings they would say. And I had a few aha moments in some of my programs too, where, you get what you focus on. At one particular time, I knew that I was worried about something really bad happening. I was in property investment and I had four different property investments on the go at once. And the market crashed. It was right at the beginning of that big crash in 2008.
Mm.
And I realized, and then our properties dropped in value, and we hadn't finished subdividing them, and we were not getting any income from them, and we were leveraged with the banks 80-20 when we started. And when the property crash hit, all the properties started to go down in value, and we weren't able to continue to get them to the point where we could bring money in from them or sell them. And I realized I was actually at a boot camp at the time and they said, you get what you focus on, you get what you focus on, what you resist persists, and all of this.
Yeah.
And then I had an aha moment and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm waking up every morning worrying about what if the worst happens, how am I going to get out of this? I'm between a rock and a hard place. I can't borrow money, I can't make any more money, I don't know what to do. All those thoughts that as humans we have when we're stressed or when something's not going or when we're challenged. And so I actually did something that changed my whole situation. This is before I was a coach and before I knew this stuff.
Mm.
And so I became really interested in this. And at one point, I was just by chance introduced to the Life Mastery Institute, where I trained as a life mastery consultant. And I had started a course with them, and then they invited us to a live, and this is in America. This is an American company. And when I went there, I met my master coach who trained us, Mary Morrissey. And I just went, oh my gosh, this is it. This is how so I had this dream for 10 years to bring this kind of education to people
Wow.
in New Zealand, people on this side of the world, because at the time I was in New Zealand as well. And, you know, when I saw her and I saw what she studied and how she studied it, and I started to understand how to actually make these universal laws work, how to work with the quantum world and metaphysics and quantum physics, I was blown away. And I was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to teach people this work and help them to change their lives.
Because so many people are thinking those things, like the what ifs. It is such a big thing. People are always thinking about worst case scenarios, isn't it? We don't think about the best outcomes or be optimistic all the time. Most people that you meet are pessimists, and they're like, oh, the world is like, you know, even with the pandemic, the world is coming to an end. Everything is so negative, with a lot of self-talk.
Yeah, well, Ellie, that's not really their fault, because it's the way that we've been brought up. So, you know, Deepak Chopra calls it collective unconscious. And as NLP coaches, we know what that means. And so what happens is we've been indoctrinated with this. We actually don't have a lot of choice, because it's been part of our indoctrination from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
But people don't know that. So people think that what our beliefs are is truth.
Yeah.
They don't understand until someone like us comes to them and says, look, there's another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
There's other information that you can use to help you achieve what you want. So they don't understand what our beliefs are is not truth. It is something that other people have instilled in us to make us think that it is truth. And when you can change your perception and say, okay, well, if that's the case, and I believe that this is how life is, this is how my world is, this is how everyone else's world is, and change our perspective and start to look at, well, what could life be like if I didn't have these very fixed, people don't think they're fixed, but they are actually fixed beliefs. So it's like we have an operating system like a computer, and we run programs, as you know, Ellie.
Yes.
So we run programs about how to react if we get put under pressure. You know? And so really, this is a whole re-education system, and it's as real as the law of gravity. If you understand that there's a law of gravity, you can't see it, but it works on us. If you can apply the same concept to the 11 universal laws, which are the ones that I teach as the main universal laws, and then all the other laws are like sub-laws of that, and there are very, very many. If you can understand that these are as real as the law of gravity or the law of thermodynamics, they work on us 24/7, and if we learn how to use them, then we can benefit from them.
So do you think everyone can learn these things? Like, is there a way that, you know, with the coaching, say with yourself, but also can we learn the basics? You know, what are some basic things that people can take away right now in terms of what we can be aware of in terms of the thinking and the quantum, you know, the quantum field, and how our thoughts affect our actions? What's one tip you would say to people right now in how we can immediately change a few things just right here and now?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Ellie. So one of our the key tool we teach in our coaching is notice what you notice. And what we mean by that is notice your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many people on this podcast, how many of your listeners understand that we are thinking all the time, and it's often unconsciously, and we have no idea of what those thoughts are. We think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And if I said to you, Ellie, give me 20,000 thoughts you thought yesterday, you probably might not even be able to give me 10.
No, that's right. You think the same things, but unconsciously it keeps running, like you said, a program that is running like a computer. Like, you don't know, the computer's doing a million processes in the one time. It's like your brain, it's thinking those thousands of thoughts in that 1 second, isn't it? And it's not even, I've heard, it's not even the thoughts I calculate while you're asleep. So we're even running thoughts while we're sleeping.
Yeah, and like you say, many people tend to be the glass is half empty rather than half full. So they're thinking mainly negative thoughts. And like you say, 90% of these 60 to 70,000, we think the same every day. 90% of our thoughts are the same, and then 85% of those are negative. And so if you realize that the universe or the cosmos or God or whatever you want to call it, thinks that what we are paying our attention to is our intention, and we're thinking 60 to 70,000 thoughts, 90% of those, 85% of those are negative, then we're creating what we don't want by default.
That's right.
So I say to people, first, number one rule is to create some kind of system or structure that makes you think about notice what you're thinking. You check in, because otherwise it just goes on by default. So if you're starting to feel a little bit other than great, amazing, fantastic, check in with your thoughts. If you're feeling a bit icky, a bit uncomfortable, check in with your thoughts. And so, my master coach has a system, because you do need a system, like I say, otherwise you're not going to notice what you're thinking at all. But she has a system where every time she touches a handle of some kind, so it could be a cup handle or a mug handle or a door handle or a cupboard handle or the car door handle. So if you develop some kind of system that gets you that reminds you on a regular basis to check in with your thoughts. And then what the next question is, well, what say my thoughts are not, positive?
That's right. Because, you could just be having a crappy day, and it's one thing is like a roller coaster, and you can't get yourself out of this negative rut. Right. So we might start the day, getting on the wrong side of bed, and just everything goes downhill from there. I'm sure we've all had days like that. We're only human. What would you say to those to try to get us out of that negative as soon as we can?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So there's some tools to do that. The thing is, our thoughts it's proven science, our thoughts are a measurable vibrational energy, and so are our words. So Dr. Emoto proved that with words. There's an experiment, people can Google it, called, if you Google Dr. Emoto and the water crystal experiment, where he showed that words actually do have a vibration, where they created nice crystals for the words. Yeah. And so, but they know that our thoughts actually are a measurable energetic vibration.
They've even done that, they've even done that with flowers. They put a rose and they put the word love next to the flower, and then they put the word hate or something like that strong. And then the one with the word hate next to it started dying a lot faster than the one that had love, which was blooming. So going back to even like music, or if you want to sing to your plants, people, everything has a vibration, including plants and words. And you're so right about that.
Yeah, and when people understand that, and what we know is that when we're in worry, challenge, stress, our vibration is a low vibrational energy.
Yeah.
What we want to do is change that to a higher vibrational energy, because then we'll attract things of a higher vibrational energy. Love and gratitude are the highest vibrational energy on the planet. So we want to attract things that are in that vibrational energy. And what we do is we get people to start with what they would really love their life to be like to write a story about what it's like if it all worked out, if they could achieve their wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And we go through a process where we make sure they don't bring it down to what they think they can achieve based on their limitations.
Yes.
Because remember, it's nothing out there that affects our results. Everything that affects our results is in here. Yeah.
Between our two ears.
Yeah. And so we have people start with we call a vision statement. And that's a specific, detailed, clear, written statement about what they want their life to be like in, say, 2 or 3 years' time, in every area of our life, our health, our relationships, our business.
Check in with every context. Yes, that's right.
And so then when people feel a little bit not so good, or when people want to make sure, and I say, you want to read this as often as you can, because it changes your vibration. The other way to do it is gratitude. So when you wake up,
journaling.
It's great to have a process where you first of all think what you're grateful for every morning when you wake up. And the interesting,
or going to bed, either or.
Yeah, and both.
Yeah, both. Right,
and,
both.
And if you're feeling a bit yucky, that's when you start to think, what am I grateful for? But here's the interesting thing. You can be grateful for everything you have already. However, most people don't realize that you can be grateful for something that hasn't yet happened.
That's right. Living
And
in the
so,
living as if
yeah.
now, right?
Yeah, and so we create the vision and we start to live as if it's already happened.
That's right.
We start to be grateful for it as if it's already happened. We start to imagine ourselves that person driving that car to that whatever that was in your vision as that person achieving what they wanted to achieve.
That's
And that is
exactly,
so
yeah, that's exactly what I tell my clients, because I am in I have a passion for fertility, and most of my clients are fertility clients, and I'm like, imagine yourself already holding the baby, or hang around women with babies already. So while we're on that topic, what's something that you could say to my clients who haven't yet have that baby and their dream is to have that baby? What can they do that can, get them one step closer to that dream?
Yeah, totally. I would be writing, like you say, that chapter of their life where they've had their baby. The baby is part of their life, and in great detail, get the feeling, like you say,
Yeah.
of the things they want to do with that baby when it's 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
Because once again, if we do that, this is what my master coach did actually, and more than 40 years ago when she was first introduced to this work. She had a death sentence with necrosis of the kidney, and they said
Wow.
that she was going to die, that
Wow.
she only had 6 months to live, and she had a little child.
Wow.
And the reason why she had this, they said, was because this wonderful woman who had asked her if she wanted some help before the operation, where she was having one kidney removed. And she said, could you understand? Because she'd got pregnant at 16 and had shamed her family in America. It
Oh,
was like
wow.
the worst thing to happen. And she said, can you understand that the thoughts you've got about yourself
Yeah,
has caused the poison and
that's it.
the kidney to do this?
Yeah.
And she said, no, I can't. The MD's told them, the doctors have said this and that. And so this woman helped her to understand a little bit. And she said to her, can you believe then that all the poison and negative things that have been going on will go away with the kidney they remove, and your other kidney will actually get better? And that's what happened. It was a miracle, but that's what happened. And the reason why it happened is because every time she started to have those negative thoughts about herself, those toxic thoughts about herself that had caused the toxicity in her body, she changed it to imagining walking along, holding her little boy's hand when he was going to school for the first time.
That's
She
beautiful.
made her think about him going to school,
Yeah.
going to university, being there for his graduation,
Yeah.
being there for his wedding, and all of the things. And now Mary is over 70.
Wow. And that is so powerful, because, the people that don't know or understand that what you think changes the chemistry, the hormones, the composition. It's like stress, which is from external
Yeah.
factors as well as internal stress, but they cause 99% of illness. So when you're constantly thinking the same negative thoughts and you're stressing yourself out about things, that can cause massive detriments to your health. Yeah. What do you?
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know this, Alex,
Mm.
as you, yeah, you know this as a naturopath. And the thing is, most people spend more time planning a weekend away than they
Yes.
do planning how they want their life to be.
Yeah.
And so it's so important to understand this, to understand that if you plan how you'll live by design, if you design how you want your life to be, and then you take some steps to follow that process through. And of course, taking action is a big one as well. Um, but if you don't, then you live by default anyway. We cannot not manifest. As humans, we are manifestors. We can't stop that. And so,
Mm.
unless you decide that you're going to create your life and create your thoughts the way that you want your life to be as often as you can,
Yeah.
because it's about being in synergy with that vision. Einstein, or there's an argument about who wrote this particular quote. And I thought it was Einstein, and I love Einstein, and I follow him a lot.
He's your
But
idol.
he's one of my, yeah. And he said this. He said, I'll just find his quote. He said, oh, hang on, I know where it is here. He said, everything is energy.
Yeah.
Goes back to
It
the
is.
energetic vibration, right? Everything is energy. That's all there is. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and it cannot help but be yours. This
Yeah.
is not philosophy,
Yeah.
it is
True.
physics.
Yes, and
And
that's
so that's
exactly,
just
and I
such a
understand
powerful
that more
quote.
than anyone, being an acupuncture, energy healer, everything is vibration and energy. So
Yeah.
whatever we're thinking creates a positive energy or it makes the flow. We talk about helping the flow of the body be more harmonious in terms of acupuncture and the balance, or it could create a negative, stagnant energy where things are not flowing, like being in like heavy traffic. It's just not moving. Things are just stuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So
Einstein was a wise man. So tell me a bit about this cosmic energy, and if we aren't religious or we don't believe in this universe, how can you tap into that sort of belief? If people are religious or they go, oh, there's no such thing as the divine or the universe, like what do you say to those sort of skeptics out there?
well, I would say that you don't have to believe it's God and you don't have to believe it's the universe. Whatever you believe is the power that is connecting us all and causing our, who we are, where we are, and what we're doing. You can also simply look at what's your purpose.
Yeah.
So if you look at why am I here? What am I here to do? And you really delve deep. Like many people, once again, don't think about why they might be here. And yet as humans, we really want to do something.
Yeah.
Most people really want to do something. And once again,
Feel
this,
important, leave a legacy.
yeah, leave a legacy. But once again, this collective unconscious
Yes.
stops many people from thinking that they can achieve something spectacular or something for them spectacular. It doesn't have to be spectacular for anyone else,
Mm,
but our purpose is something that's much bigger than our own individual lives. It's not to bring up our children or
yes.
anything around ourselves. It's actually what will you do to make an impact on society, some society in some way. And if you can hook into that, then that's a great driving force. Why am I here
Yeah.
on this earth in this century, in this decade, in this area I live with, the people around me I live with? What is it I want to do? Like you say, Ellie, what legacy do I want to leave? And it could be a legacy for your family,
Yeah.
because that, of course, will have a ripple effect. But if you try and understand what that is, and it's like I say, it's comes from in here. It's
Yeah.
for me, it's freedom for humanity. So it's something you can never say I've done it. I can never say I've achieved freedom for humanity.
Yes. That's right.
However, everyone I work with will have achieved greater freedom than before they started, because I help people to get freedom from the negative the negative thoughts, the
Yes.
limitations, the perceived limitations, plus financial freedom because they do much better in their businesses, time freedom, all of that
Yeah.
type of freedom.
It
Yeah.
drains a lot of energy though to keep thinking those things again and again. You feel lighter even when you're happier and you're content and you do have that purpose and clarity, that importance of having that clarity and purpose in life. Like when you wake up each day and you can't wait to jump out of bed and go to work. Like you and I both love our jobs, but there are people out there who are probably slaving away, go, I wish I could change, or I wish I could earn more money. And they're always thinking those sort of things. Because,
So
yeah,
those people are simply thinking, I wish, but I can't. And the can't is coming from their perceived limitations.
yeah,
If we can think anything we can think up, we have the capacity to achieve that and to bring that to fruition in the physical world.
yes.
Anything. We as humans, there's nothing we can't think up, dream up, imagine that we
Yeah.
can't achieve.
It's
And
only the limitations in our mind.
absolutely. And we're only using a fraction of our potential. Most of us are only scratching the surface of what we're capable of. If you go back and think about all the people who changed history, who made a big difference in this world,
Yeah.
they all did things that were impossible at the time, many things that haven't ever even been dreamed up.
Yeah.
They did it because they
They
thought
had the
something
vision.
up.
It came up from a
Yeah,
thought, wasn't it? Like
yeah, yeah.
inventing a car or, any of those things, inventing all sorts of things which were newly invented. Someone had to think up that vision and had to have that thought. So everything, like you said, comes from a thought.
That's right. Like the Wright brothers, when they discovered the flying machine, they had so many times where it hadn't worked that they were going to give up. And one brother said to the other, "It's not working. We should just give up." And the other brother said, "No, I can see it. I can see it. We can do it. I can see it.
Yeah.
That's how it started. They could see that they could create this
Create this
vision
aeroplane
of
that
fire.
flies. Yeah.
And once again, they used the invisible law of thermodynamics to
Oh,
do it.
everything from electricity to cars to
Absolutely.
airplanes to all sorts. Someone had to have that belief that it was possible.
Absolutely. How much time have we got, Ellie? Do you have to
We've got a
go
little
now?
bit more time. Let's ask a couple more questions. So, why do you think people fall short in creating the results they want? So, we touched on that a little bit. So, what would be the answer to why we aren't creating what we want for our, like whether it is more money or, having the ideal dream job?
Well, as we said, it starts with our thoughts,
Yeah.
first of all. And as humans, we know that we're going to default to negative thoughts. The main thing is having that vision. So most people, like I say, they don't spend time planning how they want their life to be. So the most important thing, that's our starting point, is to go, okay, what would I love? Not
Mm,
just, it's not how can I do it? It's what would I love? And when
yeah.
people start to look at what they would love if they didn't think it was impossible, even though they don't know how to do it, be really honest. If I could do this, what would I love? And we get
Yeah.
that very, very strong attachment to that. And like I say, in details, in specifics, written
Yes.
as if it's already happened. So we do this vision statement in a particular way, written as if it's already happened, all in positive words and specific. So it's not enough to just say, oh, I want a good life, I want a
That's right.
successful business, and I want enough money to be able to, to have a good life. Well, excuse me, the universe or whatever you believe in can't give you enough money because it doesn't know what enough is to you,
That's right. It's
because
got to be
what's
very
enough to you
specific.
is different to me, is different to him or her. And so we do say or more. We might say, I want to make $250,000 or more, so that we hold our vision or our dream, what we want, out with an open hand for the universe to give us more if it wants to. We don't, you know, put a line and say, this is all I want. So there's ways to do it. And then there is a process. There's a formula for success. It goes like this. Our thoughts create our feelings and emotions, which cause the actions that we take, which cause our results.
Mm,
So we start with our thoughts. So we have to
that's right.
control our thoughts.
That's right.
And then, as you know, Ellie, as soon as we think something, we're a chemist shop.
We are.
We have all,
Everything
yeah,
starts firing, whether it's in a good way or a bad way.
yeah. And so our feelings and emotions are part of that, because we react and
Yeah.
cause those chemical reactions, and then based on how we feel, we'll base our actions that we take. And
Mm,
so, for example, if you leave your iPhone at a pub one night, and you wake up in the morning and realize it's not there, you're going to start that thought process, and you're going to start that fear and the chemicals that
yeah.
go with all of that, the adrenaline and the uh,
Stress.
stress hormones. And so you're going to take certain actions compared with if you say you had a hot date coming up, and you'd have totally different chemicals going on, and
Yes.
take completely different actions. So the action is the thing that we must do. If you have a thought, you create a vision, you think up something you want, it already exists in the quantum field, by the way.
So
As soon as
let's
we
talk a
think,
little bit about that. Just a quick definition of what this quantum field means, because a lot of people may not have heard the term quantum field or quantum leap in terms of how that could help them with life and in general. What does that mean? What does a quantum field define the quantum field for our listeners?
okay, so the quantum world is the world that we don't know, we can't see. It's basically everything much, much smaller than any physical size,
Hmm.
um, anything that's visible to the eye. And it's the whole energy and the way that our neutrons and our protons and electrons, we know they're all energy,
Yeah.
and we know how they work. If you're into science or do any travel, any study, or have been involved in any kind of science like that. So with a with a quantum leap, for example, in science, a quantum leap is described as a sudden movement of a proton or a neutron or a very tiny particle, a sudden jump that it seems to take without any extra energy. That's why they call it a quantum leap. It moves from one place to another without any extra energy and without any real plan to do so. And what we've used with that within our results is that if we harness the quantum field and understand more about the energy and how to use it, we can actually do the same thing, because it comes down to conditioning again. So we get taught baby steps.
Yes.
We get taught slow increments is how it is. And yet, that is a belief. And if you think that it's going to, you hear people say, I'm going to do this, but it's going to take me a long time.
Yeah.
Remember what Henry Ford said, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you are right. If you think it'll take a long time, it will.
That's right.
If you think you can do it quickly, hey, you probably can.
Mm.
So having a quantum leap is about changing the way we think. It's about changing the way that we hook into the energetic realm. And it's about taking certain processes so that we can understand, so that we can go through those steps to bring to fruition what it is that we've thought up. And it starts with the vision again. So you've got to have that vision in your head, and we think in pictures. So it's a picture in color of what it is you want to achieve before you can do anything else. And then you can start to use some of these processes with the quantum world. As I say, once you think something up, it already exists in the quantum world. It could just stay there
until you're ready,
unconscious, and not do anything unless you do certain things. And of course, taking action is one. I've got a book here. It's one of my Bibles. It's called U Squared by Price Pritchett. And it is a fantastic book to read. I can give you a link for people to get it. And this basically sums up the whole quantum leap process. And it's a book you can read in an hour probably. And it's absolutely fantastic.
It'll change your life basically. And you've got so Karen will give me a link, and Karen's also got a freebie. So we might wrap up because we could be here talking for hours on this one topic. There's so many subtopics, but we want to thank Karen so much for just introducing us to a little bit about the quantum field and how our thoughts create our actions. That's such a profound thing for so many people who don't really understand how it has such a profound effect. And Karen's going to give us a little freebie as well. So if you want to learn about how to do your vision statement, she's going to put a link, give me a link, and I'll put that up for people, isn't it, to download a little downloadable that you could use to help you write that vision.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. What I can even offer people a complimentary vision statement blueprint session.
Beautiful. So we'll put that in the link. So Karen's going to offer you a complimentary blueprint session where she can help you go through your vision. So we will pop that up in the link. So be sure to take her up on the offer. And we thank her today for her time. And I'm sure you've all learned a few things or two today. I know I have.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Karen.
Where do you want me to send you the links?
Oh, I'll pop them into the when I post up the thing, I'll pop them in there.
Oh,